Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of QBrainX webinar. So it's nice to have you all online today. On today's session, we are going to see very insights on how ITAM is contributing and enabling the workplace diversity. And today we have Mr. Jitendra Shinde, the senior consultant at QBrainX. And Jitendra is a experienced person with 11 years of experience into consulting for ITAM, enterprise asset management, and corporate real estate tools. So he has a wide experience in this sector. And let's welcome Jitendra also. Let's start the session from now. And to go on with the session, let's have a few guidelines. Please mute on your mic so that it doesn't affect the flow of the presentation. And for any clarifications, let's have a question and answer session at the end of this webinar. So we'll have all your questions there. So welcome, Jitendra. Over to you.
Thank you, Revant. Hope I'm audible enough. Okay,
Yeah, you're audible. Please continue.
thank you. So to start with the sessions, as Revant mentioned, yes. So the housekeeping, the muting and muting standards you guys can make, and also you will be directed to the recording of the sessions after we finish this up. So really looking to start with you guys. So good evening for the IST people and the people who are joining for the Eastern timing. Very good morning for them. It's an good morning for you all. So start tapping with you the agenda. So we do have more than 13 slides that we are going with this ITAM. So near about 1 and 1 minute half, we will be covering all these slides. And also, of course, we do have certain Q&A sessions. So if you have questions in your mind, okay, you can just list it down and later we'll try to cover them up at the end of the sessions. Okay. So starting with the agenda that we are lining with. So we're really looking how and what is actually ITAM because few of the people is well aware where the participants, I would say, they would need where we are actually tapping on the ITAM and how QBrainX is driving all this ServiceNow IT asset management implementation with our clients, partners, and the internal stakeholders that we have. So to start with, we'll start with the ITAM. What is in general? We'll see the aspects of implementing ITAM, and then we of course touch upon the business maturity, how ITM development can do. And then we of course go for the what are the different phases of ITM that we will go in and to see. Also, the main agenda will be covering in the fifth slide, where the ITAM evolution and workplace diversity will deeply talks about it. And then we of course move on to our main core process, which is SAM, which is nothing but your software asset management when we are talking about IT asset management. So IT asset management is driven into on two pieces, SAM and HAM. Accordingly, it's called as software asset management and hardware asset management. So without this both, ITAM is been incomplete. So there is a third portion of it as well, which is called as in cloud subscriptions that we are not covering today. We're only covering SAM and HAM. So we'll pip into the service now, the few screenshots or the how service now works with the SAM. We go into the insights of it, and then we'll see how our partners or the clients can go with their roadmap developing the SAM. Similarly, we go with the HAM, and then we'll make it sure how we can do the strategic priority on it one. So later we'll do the case study as well on this part. But yeah, really going ahead now with the checking what is the maturity level that we have. So when we say maturity level on the ITAM, okay, why it is needed? That is something which is self-explanatory because IT asset management, when we cover it, is mostly to do with your software licenses and the hardwares that you have. So hardware consists of your software, hardware consists of your application that you use, the computers, the laptops, the servers that you have. Okay, so those are really your hardware assets. The software assets are nothing but your licenses that you manage. Okay, so both needs to manage with the equal maturity, I would say. When we talk about maturity, we really taps upon the few things that we have. So how you assess your organization, then how you determine your core processes, okay, how you build your stakeholders buy-in and in a team, okay. So what actually that means? That means whenever you implement IT asset management, you really need to go to your client, or I would say whatever the Kubernetes clients that we have, we really tap upon and check what is the level of data that they do have. Do they have only data and documentation and not yet started the IT asset management? Or do they have all the processes runs within them and they are ready to start with any applications like the ServiceNow, SAM, or HAM that we have? Or is it fully grown system that they already have implemented and now they are just need to leverage that up? So this is what the business maturity towards ITM we used to check. And these are the phases where we go with that one. We access their maturity levels, we determine what are their core processes, and then with the stakeholders buy in, we really look upon what we can build over there. And obviously, once we have these all three processes, we go and evaluate, and then we take a decision whether how and where we can implement the item solutions. Okay. Once we have implemented the solution, that the very important part comes into our mind is discover. So we discover all the IT assets. Maybe it's in software, maybe in hardware, maybe it's a cloud. We discover it up and we put it across CMDB, or we put it across a tables where we can take out the data and process it accordingly. Okay. So this is something that we usually go and tap in as part of discover all the assets that you have. And then, of course, once you discover what are all IT assets that I do have, then I go and check the categories of it. Okay, how do I categorize all those assets? Okay, how many software assets I do have, how many hardware assets I do have, how many are end of life, how many are end of supports, different kinds of things. Okay, and once we categorize, then again we implement a last process into it, one where we see the procurement policies if we do have. Okay, if we need to purchase any new softwares. Okay, so this is all about your business maturity towards ITAM, where you go and check on which level your client is working on. Okay, the next part which I talked about is ITAM in general. Okay, so what is ITAM or IT asset management for you? Okay, the IT asset management definition, if you go with it's managing the software licenses or hardware assets, or as I mentioned, it's in cloud assets with the intuitive workflow and lifecycle visibility. Okay, one question comes in my mind. Okay, and I wanted to process you. Okay, and I wanted to need you in a thought process where I can just give you, okay, let's suppose you're working, you're a node startup, okay, and if I wanted to give you as an asset manager, okay, I'll take these answers at the end of session where we are looking for case study, but this is just in start process. I just wanted to build you in over the session. If you can answer it up, that's well good. We can have that workshop go ahead. But yeah, let's suppose you have a startup where you wanted to be an asset manager and you wanted to maintain an particular data into it where you go and tap in what are my software licenses, how do I manage it, who is using my softwares, is my softwares which I'm being using in compliance or not, how many software licenses are being there which are going to uninstall, how many licenses are being banned in the outside market, how my hardware assets are working, are they in current stock rooms or not, all my hardware assets are really ending their lives, how do I disposition? So in order to do that one, if you are put in place, how would you manage? Okay, I would need those discussions later up the stage. So this is a thought process I just gave you. Think through it, and then we'll continue how IT asset management. So that will give you a whole process to understand. Okay. Now come back to what is ITAM in general. So as we spoke about, it is mostly about the software licenses, hardware assets that we have. Okay. If you talk about a mature ITAM program which enables an organization, very important point, it's a full visibility into their IT assets so that they can cost efficiently use those assets. Just now I mentioned one thought process. This is the answer for that one. I'm giving you the cheat sheet, but yep, this is the answer for that questions. I would say one phase of answer I have given to you that every organization wants a full visibility into their IT assets. Okay, which all our assets I do have, which all our assets are going to expire. Okay, what are the action that I should take it up? Because it's all depend on your cost savings. So yes, so ITAM in general is something that we mature the ITAM program where we have the full visibility. Also, as I have previously mentioned, it also enables you to track what are the end of support, end of service, or end of life of my assets. Okay, end of life something where you can't use it, your assets anymore. End of service is where publishers or the original equipment manufacturer has stopped support. Okay, that's we called end of support. So after that, we no longer need those softwares, so we can cut our cost, or we can over licensing amount if we are not looking at it. Okay, so the fourth point that we drastically check in our item is it allows you the organization proactively identify what are my potential issues in my contractual. Okay, and this is something the life cycle I would say where we request the softwares or hardwares or any assets, we fulfill that request, we deploy it, we monitor it. Okay, and then we do a servicing part of it, and then at finally we retire it. So this is what the item life cycle that we have. Quickly touch upon the what are the phases that we go through it. Okay, now you have that requirement of software licenses or hardware licenses or assets that you have. Okay, so this goes with the request process. Okay, where we you request the provide service portal, or you browse service catalog, you trigger the workflows, and also you plan your service portfolio. Okay, then it goes to procurement for software licenses. We do the procurements as well. Hardwares, whatever the hardware assets, those goes to in your stack rooms. Okay, to build in. Okay, both both ways then go into your deploying, and also we tap it on the financial ways of doing it. What are the aggregate costs that we have? What is the allocation for those expenses, where we can track those budgets? Okay, and similar way we can deploy them into an automated provisioning. Okay, where we link the assets to CMDB. Okay, CMDB is nothing but your centralized configuration management database, which helps you out, which is the core process of ServiceNow, which helps you out driving all other processes into a streamlined way. Then it comes, how do you govern, how do you manage, and how do you retire those item life cycles? Okay, where we governing the document policies, we check the compliances, we track the corrective actions. Again, we manage the discovery inventory, we plan the maintenances. Of course, we track the asset history from where it has been, from which stock room it is coming up, if it has been there, if the request is coming up, everything we manage this. And this finally we retire this particular software or hardware or cloud assets that we do have. Okay, so this is in all that we have in the sessions of different phases. Okay, now coming beyond what is item evolution, the main core topic that we have. Okay, now what is there in the evolution phase? If you see about your ITSM, the IT service management, it has so the traditional way of doing ITSM goes around your configuration management, IT service management, which is majority talks about different set of areas of technology that you have, which only focus on active objects. It's monitoring them with the maybe a discovery tool, opening or closing your service tickets. That's what we have in traditional way. Now with the item as an evolution, things has drastically changed on 4 to 5 parameters. The first parameter I would say it's extension of your estate, how your software, hardware, or enterprise assets estate is being one. You're crossing your the hardware, you're crossing your software, you're crossing your cloud spend. Second parameter I would say when we are evolution of IT asset management is how dynamically the serialized assets versus your consumable assets, which are pretty accountable for your auditing. How do you are managing them? So this is something comes under the modern way of doing the things. Okay, we peep into the third parameter where we are changing with the workplace. Now we are doing few of the organization they are giving the fully remote. Few of the organizations are working hybrid mode. There are people who are coming back. So things are changing. The new normal comes into a picture, which gives you diversity in workplaces, and so on to our managing them into the IT asset management portfolio. So this is an evolution for ITAM, I would say. And then the last parameter or last button parameter, I would say the centralized way. okay, where you are tapping your 360 view, managing full data visibility into the reporting part, or you wanted to isolate a particular workflows, which is talking about your one of the people who are working with it. Traditionally, ITSM works on many more manual clicks. Here in the evolution of ITAM, that we have crunched out your automations. Okay, so if you're talking about hardware asset management, we manage it throughout its life cycle, and also we do our control and inventory and much more. Okay, I have only put it 2 points for hardware asset management, but truly it's been there a lot. If you tap on the software asset management, how do you manage your software which are getting used, what are the softwares in your inventory, how do you are managing them, how your compliance is zone, everything is managing. Okay, as I ask you the thought process, if I give you excel sheet to maintain, and if versus I'm giving you an fully evolutionary item workplace diversity module, then you will see the differences. And this is how we do the cloud spend as well. We identify who are my cloud users, who are my, how do I reduce the cloud cost through visibility. Okay, and rightly said, in the slide itself, it says the practice of managing and optimizing your purchase, deployment, and maintenance, which gives you a good utilization of your assets, and also how do you dispose this technology. This is what your item at the workplace. Okay, so now moving ahead, the core parts of it, SAM, software asset management and hardware asset management, how does it works onto your system? Okay, so if you see the purchase, there are three ways. If you're left part of your slide, you can see the procurement, the spreadsheets, or the SaaS API, which gives you the purchase data with you. The raw inventory, which is comes out to your ServiceNow discovery or the third party inventory or the Azure APIs that you have. Okay, both the data of purchase data or the raw inventory will get into the content services team. So this is all about the data that I'm talking about. Okay, when we say how software asset management or how ham works, it's the same similar kind of architecture we do have. We have the data, we have the software assets data or hardware assets data, we go for content services. They do a normalization for us. What is the normalization? Normalization is nothing but making up your raw data as a solid standard way where we can tap on our compliances, where we can tap our compliance position, where we can go ahead and see what is my cost saving. Okay, that is what normalization means. Once you cross over the normalization parts, that gives you two benefits. The benefits where we can be better together with the different models of ServiceNow. So any of the model, the operations model, the business management model, where you need the data normalize a very clean data. If you need, okay, you can go to the ITSM security or HR data. You can leverage that data with the SAM workflow. Also, it gives you the compliance where I would easily understand how many licenses that I do have, how many installations I do have in my network, okay, versus how many softwares or hardwares I do have which is out of compliance, and ultimately what is my true up cost. So if I wanted to give you a glimpse of true up cost is simply you have your licenses, you purchase some of the licenses, and according to that licenses you have downloaded your softwares. Let's suppose 100 softwares licenses you took, 100 installations you did in your network on your company or your organization. If 101st download of softwares is happening, that needs your licenses. If you don't have, then you are out of compliance for one licenses. In auditing part, it will come out. So true up cost is nothing but your unit cost versus how many licenses that you are getting out of your budget. That is something we are having the true up cost. So ultimate goal is to make sure you don't have a true up cost as zero. Now we can see $60,000 of true up cost has been actually. You can see that data visualizations. Okay, you can see the data, and then you can go boom. You go for an actions. Okay, where my true up cost is being. What are my all licenses that are compliance out of the compliance? That is why we have the next part is action. Okay, where we can you can go and tap on your savings. You can see how many software licenses I can revoke, how many licenses I can reconciliations. How do I identify my users are not using my softwares? Let's suppose you have softwares which is a least use and you wanted to move it around. Okay, suppose you have a person who have left the organization and you have allotted 3 to 4 licenses to his system or her system. and suddenly he left out, and you're not having any control of it. These 3 to 4 licenses, which are costing $1 million for us, are just being eaten. If you have a tap on it, if you have proper data on it, who is managing, you can revoke it. That is what the low usage means. If you install a particular software and you are not at all using it, but there is a person sitting next to you who needs those softwares, then why? What we used to do, we used to go and purchase the new software installations we do, new software licenses we do. Why would do we need that? We can just tap on your low usage. Who all are my people, who all are my employees who are not at all using the particular softwares? You can revoke those softwares from their system, and you can given them who are in need of it. So you can easily save a lot of money onto that one. So you need not to go for a purchase again. You can manage your software licenses within your system, within your teams. This is what the actions we can take if you have a good data of compliance. Okay. And obviously, when we do it very strategically. And that's why the SAM strategic advantage gives you reducing enterprise software spend, mainly mitigate your publisher audit risk, optimize your software and SaaS spend, and also it detects unknown software and SaaS spend onto it. These are all benefits you get in if you have fully fledged data overloaded SAM and how it works in your now platform. So if you wanted to really dig into your softwares, okay, how it will work in that way, okay. So I just wanted to figure it out. So this is how your SAM looks like. It gives you how many are publisher which is out of compliance. So which is what does it means? It simply means that you are into your auditing zone once. So yep, there you may have heard of, there are a lot of compliances issues that are happening, a lot of audits that are happening. Okay. And this item I'm telling you, this is straight way depends on your costing. How many software that you have, how many softwares you're using, is those assets or the softwares or hardwares you are using are licensable or not. So there is a proper auditing has been done by the vendors. So it's when on regular basis auditing has been done. So any other modules, any other things, if you do that auditing, that is still security levels. And if you found out you place as guilty, you can pay the amounts of as an fine. But in case of software and hardware assets, it's strategically is any straight way it hits onto your budgets. So this is something that you wanted to understand, and this gives you your software asset overview, a manner where they can give you how many publishers are out of compliance, how many products are out of compliance, what is the over licensing amount. Over licensing amount is nothing but you have took the softwares, you have purchased the licenses, you are giving your employees those softwares, they download it, but they are not at all using it, or there is requirement of 100 licenses and you took 200 licenses, then those 100 extra licenses come under your over license amount. Now I can see over license amount as a $15 million. This is huge, huge. I would say the investment that we can leverage and turn around to an more fruitful way. So this is how your SAM workflow, SAM overview gives you the data, and that is how you tap on your systems to check if my maintenance are expiring, if those are subscriptions are expiring, if I need to revoke it then or not, what is my total true up cost, what are my five publishers. So if you see in the service now, it gives you all around a good dashboards which you can see and much more into your system. So if you go again I'm giving you only the way where we can do the visualization, but this is still more data into this particular workspace that you can tap on. Okay, where you go ahead and see a lot of things on there. You can see the software entitlement, how do we manage them. Okay, this is something that we vouch for it. Okay, and that's how it's work for the software asset management service now. Question comes here in mind right now is, now we talked about a lot of SAM, but how one can go with the roadmap. Okay, so there are specific ways to do it up, there are generic ways to do it up, there are realistic or phased manner we can develop the roadways, or there are unrealistic ways. So on your left we have the generic, unrealistic, and out of sync roadmap. So if you given a chance to uh, go with the roadmap, then we would very sure that go with the specific way where you should know you wanted to get a compliance position for a Microsoft SQL server. in particular North American environment. So this is just a dummy, or this is just an hypothetical data that is in front of you, but this could be a template for you. Your roadmap, you can decide, but still these are some examples that we are giving you. Okay, the specific way of roadmap is doing, which is smart, phased, and on point, which is saying, okay, I want to get a compliance for this particular server, this particular licenses, or this particular publisher in that particular zone. Versus if you fix your roadmap on generic way, I want to get a compliance position on my tier one vendors. Who all are your tier one vendors? How would you get to a compliance one? So if you wanted to set up your roadmap correctly, then you should be phased manner. You should go realistic way. Okay. So these are the differences that just we have given it to you. Someone says, okay, I want to get compliance position for all my products, all 10 vendors in next 4 months. You can get it, but on which terms? You should be very realistic that okay, you can only focus on first three publisher on annual agreements, which is renewing on fiscal years. So this could be sounding more realistic and phased for me. So, template to give a template to you. If you are going for developing a SAM roadmap, this should be the way where it should be a smart way to doing it up. It should be in a phased manner and it should be on the point. And on top of it, it should be a data driven, the cleaner data driven things roadmap you should tap on. Also, this gives me a particular business maturity that we seen in the first slides. Okay, where how much your business maturity is on that part also majority of roadmap it depends. Okay, so why we are seeing this roadmap? It's an simple. Now up till now you are learned about how software asset management can work, but now if you wanted to implement in in your organization, if your client you wanted to have this up, these are the roadmaps for you. Okay, the last one is sequential, where uh, we want to mitigate the software security risk immediately. You can't do that. That really we can't. You need to go sequential way, where after we have our installed state normalized, we can do the evaluation of security risk on end of life titles. What that means, normalization is the simple way of making your standard publishers. Okay, where if we have our normalized way, so what is the normalized way? I would say in discovery on in your network, we run the discoveries. Okay, so discoveries mainly found out how many softwares, hardwares you have in your system. Okay, so if you found out them, okay, and you wanted to evaluate a security risk, that's something you taps on the I would say a way which is sequential. Okay, you can't go without that, but something that you tap on when you mitigate the software risk immediately, that's can happen. So this is what the, developing your SAM roadmap is all about. This is just a template you can develop in your own SAM roadmap. Now we are moving it for an hardware asset management. Okay, so hardware asset management, how it works on the Now platform, as I mentioned, it is little more similar. Okay, where we have different kind of 5 modules where we can touch upon better go together. Okay, what is this ham strategic advantage that we will get out of it? Okay, similar way, the starting with the first phase, there are a lot of inputs from where you get the data into your system. Let's focus on this particular hardware. This is the MacBook 15, which has been identified by ServiceNow Discovery. So Discovery is nothing but a tool where you fix that discovery module. Once you run that particular discovery module, it start fetching out a list of softwares, hardwares, or clouds installation in your system. And it found out, okay, there is an MacBook 15. But the other API finds out the same, but in another way. It says it's MacBook 15 inches MD33/A, but with the different of spellings out. Third one has been identified. This is not the so hardware is one only. It's just a MacBook 15. But the way of our inputs or finding out our discoveries through a spreadsheet, through a vendor data, through a API, through a procurement system, they are identifying it in a different way. And that's our challenge for the content services team. So what our content services team do? They do and go for the normalization. They identify what is my standard of all those things. So Apple MacBook Pro 15 has a standard of manufacturer in Apple. Its product name is 15 inches MacBook Pro. Then it has a model, device type. It's a general availability end user cell. These are the standard data. This is your raw data, I would say. So as I mentioned to you that your data or your SAM roadmap or your HAM roadmap or ITAM is working on good data driven things. So this is your raw data. Content services makes it a very standard data which can be utilized in two ways. The different kinds of operation management teams, different kinds of business management teams, the ITSM, security risk or HR will utilize this data very cleanly and they can develop their own roadmaps. In the similar way, you can you can do the life cycle of ham with this one. We can have the workflows into the service now where you can acquire the hardware assets, you can audit them, you can receive the data, you can maintain, and you can dispose. This only can be happen if you have a good amount of standard data with you. Okay, and this gives you a ham strategic advantage where you can reduce the asset spend, you can eliminate manual updates, you can do the prospective asset workflows, and also you can reduce the asset risk. So asset risk is nothing but okay, if your assets are going down, if your assets are going expire, you can have the tap onto it. Okay, so this covers up and this sums up how your ham works into the this way. Okay, now what is actually inside your ham? Similar way what we have seen, the similar way has also been here with the procurement. Okay, so the one tab that I wanted to show you, that hardware asset overview that we can go in. Okay, so this is a similar way where we are seeing the software asset overview. Now hardwares are there. Hardwares are stored in your storerooms because those are the physical assets that you have. Okay, so it gives you a full visibility of your all reports. Okay, how many assets value as per the model category we do have. Okay, how many assets category that actually been there into the system, everything you have. Okay, so this is what you have into your all the system that we can have. Okay, majority when you talks about your model dashboard, assets dashboard, you how many assets are requested, how many transfer orders are there, how many stocks orders you have, how many asset reservations, how many RMA you have orders. So you have all this one, and this is truly the out of box things that we have. This has not been developed by any of the I would say the technicians or the engineers. Okay, this is out of box Sam or Ham provides you. You just tap on your clearer data and you will get all those dashboards out of the box created for you. You can do the contract management, you can do the procurement, so you can have the 300x 360 asset view as well, as I mentioned to you. It will talk upon. So everything starting from your operation till cost cutting, till your reporting to our managers, till your visibility into your system, everything is there. You just need to tap on to our right datas, processes, people, and the team behind it, and everything is inside your ServiceNow page or into your ITAM repository. Everything you can have it. Okay. Now, as far as we've seen, how you can develop your roadmap for SAM, the similar way you can make your HAM as a strategic priority because your hardware assets or physical assets have a direct impact on your cost. So if we have the goal statement, like this is again one template for you. This is not the standard, or I would say this is not the only standard that we have. This is just an example. For example, a template we are giving you where you could tap on your first, what are your strategic initiatives, what are your operational objectives, what are your business outcomes that you have, what are the value claims that is across you get it. Op- of course, the optimization, loss reduction, accuracy, and automation are your strategic initiative. You can add more strategic initiative, but those should be added strategically on point and phased manner, as we've seen in SAM, where your operational objectives comes under what are my hardware asset management spend reduction is, how the ham inventory or losses and we can avoid. So this is something that operational objective you can specify. Okay, in the part of accuracy, you can see how could I enable the strategic planning and spend optimizations. Spend optimization is nothing but how many. assets that you are planning to buy in. Okay, this is something that we have in our system. Okay, and also the last part where we are tapping out your automations. Okay, how my hardware asset management or full-time employees efficiencies I can automate. And then the last two halves, which is saying your business outcomes and value claims. So if I talk about optimization, okay, my outcome should be I have visibility into a full life cycle of assets in real time, which helps me reduce the overspending. Okay, where you can claim your value, seeing how much I can save you. So you can go through this all in one set where you can see there is everything value claims is talks about. If you see the second loss reduction value claim saying many employees have lost assets relating to their jobs. Okay, so where we have average laptop cost saying that 101,700 dollars. So do you see the loss in reduction? So you can do that as an SAM strategic roadmap as a priority for you. Okay, and this allows you to an final segment of this webinar, which is the case study. So as I rightly said, the thought process for you around if you are being set manager for your system and you wanted to spend, so this is how the case study works. So the case study says that okay, there are 2 million GBP saving that we have with now platform. Okay, which is nothing but the service now platform for ITAM. The challenges for the client was there was a multiple system to carry out their operations. Okay, and this challenge in consolidating all the information, sorry, and the data about their servers. There are the physical assets and the configuration items or CI relationship in the central repository. So those are the processes. Okay, when we are talking about the configuration item or CI relationship, physical assets or the data, those are nothing but your uh, inside process that you have. Okay, on top of that, the client has lacked the visibility into their asset life cycle. Okay, which is our first target area. The user should have, or the client or the organization should have a visibility, and that's what they are missing, which resulted into an inefficient resource allocation, which is obvious, and the decision making, which is straight away. Okay, and moreover, the client was following manual processes. This is something that took a time. Okay, it's a multi-week process where if you are doing manual process to assign hardwares, it is really a hard task where the employees while onboarding and reclaim those assets from them during the offboarding, this was time consuming. So what are the solutions that ITAM provides you? It evaluates the current business processes where ServiceNow Discovery, as I mentioned, identify the client's IT components such as hardware, application, databases, and the related CIs, which consolidated this data into an CMDB from where you can generate different processes where your data is now one centralized place where you can integrate their disparate system. Now they do have SolarWind, SCCM, Rapid. Those are nothing but your different systems which majorly gives you your discovery data. Okay, then what we do the next is we integrate the disparate systems, okay, with ServiceNow just to populate a required data. As I mentioned, your clearer data is the only your I would say point where you can change the game for all your item ham sam. Okay, so populating a data from different sources is the key, and that's what we do while integrating all the discovery tools. So this provides the client as a central repository of their organizations, which makes them very clear visibility into their systems. And then the last, we have implemented the service now, of course, that we have the partnering with IT asset management, which allowed our client to gain a complete visibility, organization IT infrastructure, cost saving, audit free, fear from their audits. We could say that because of the implementation of service now, they do have their notifications which are all removed candidates, which are all expiring maintenance subscription that they do have. Okay, and not but the least, we do have that agile practices which takes the regular feedback from the clients, which makes sure that we have that successful and smooth implementation of it. Okay, and the last, we have implemented the service catalog also, which help client to allow their employees to raise the asset requirement in a centralized way. They did not to go to a different pages and or pages to to make their request. Okay, where a ticketing portal from the workstation can help them out to streamline our process, which is in a centralized way. So this is the case study that we have uh, for this one. Okay, we can have another case study which is driving us to a last phase of last 10 minutes of our webinars. Okay, which is how we are bringing better IT visibility for substantial cost saving and increase the efficiency. Okay, so the challenge for us is, again, there were two challenges that we have. Okay, where the inventory data which is covered only one third of global organization. Eastern Europe and Asia were completely blind spots for our clients. On top of this, the company's budget process was time consuming and lengthy because it directly affects your costs. So if you wanted to do a cost cutting, then you have to make sure certain processes should stop or should be get diverted or should be get on hold. Okay. So our challenges is there were manual processes, including there is no license checks, no software approvals or audit preparation. So they are really prone to get fined by the audit teams. So this was the big challenge that we have. And if you see the another challenge that we have is, as a leader in their industry, client believes that the pursuit of better is something that they needed, because no one wants to get fined, no one wants to get to their prestige onto their market. Okay, a single stake change or single stake issues will represent a whole bunch of particular client or team or an organization onto a spot. So it's been really important that we should be get out of this auditing risk. Okay, and that's why the company's ITAM team faced several obstacles, from lack of visibility into global IT assets, including challenges of planning, financial transferring, then baseline risk in the legal compliances, and the incomplete the entitlement data. Entitlement are nothing but your licenses, by the way. So the previous system also lacked the procurement data, and teams struggle with the SAP management. So this is the big challenge we do have. And with the SAM in service now, you get this procurement also into your systems. So you need not to depend on the major giant like SAP or other systems to get the procurement. ServiceNow helps you out, or SAM or HAM helps you out to see your procurement within the ServiceNow. So that helps and taps about you the challenges as well. The solution is simple. Okay, to combat these challenges, we have moved from an hybrid on-premises inventory to ServiceNow SAP solutions, where ServiceNow ITAM solution has been integrated with SAM. We added the ITAM solutions to give them the visibility across entire global IT environment, which were not being the part of it. There were the blind spots for the different thing, because ServiceNow SAM or HAM or ITAM especially has that scalability where it can really works on different data that we have. Okay, and the company's main publisher contracts and license were imported into the solutions. Okay, which was also an integrated tool into ServiceNow. So client was finally able to see its inventory across its all the entire IT environment, which is a good thing, where they can easily go and have that control on their IT. Because of this increased visibility, customer requests could be processed quickly and increasing overall satisfaction. So these are the case studies that we do have. There are a few more case studies. If you wanted to go ahead and see, you can always visit QBrainX sites, where you can go for all these case studies that we do have.
So thank you all for joining today. Thank you, Jitendra. It was a good presentation, and let's close this session.
Sure. I'll stop recording and I'll thanks everyone who are joining in. Okay. It was a wonderful session with you guys. Okay. We'll talk to you soon and come across our pathways if we have. Thanks a lot. See you.
Thank you
Bye
all.
bye.
Let's meet in another webinar session from QBrainX. Thank you all.